Hello, I'm Alex Clone. This is Sasha Segan. Happy Tuesday. Happy Galentine's Day. This is Dialed In. This is PCMag's weekly show about mobile phones and technology, and this is our Mobile World Congress special. Now we're going to do a preview of everything that we think we're going to see at the show, which takes place at the end of this month in Barcelona. Now if you're watching this live on Facebook, please feel free to ask questions. We have Social Pete who will read them out to us on air. If you're watching this later on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Just click the like button, do nice things for us. So let's start with what I imagine will be the biggest news, but we have plastered on the screen behind us.
Maybe first we should explain what Mobile World Congress is.
You know, that's a good idea. That's why there's two of us hosting the show.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so Mobile World Congress is basically, it's this giant trade show focusing on mobile phones.
Yeah, and focusing on mobile phones and, I mean, sort of other things that have grown out of wireless technology, like smart cities is going to be a big thing this year. Internet of Things is going to be a big thing. 5G and all of its growing forms are all going to be a big thing. But it's all stuff that connect to these wireless and cellular networks.
Right, and whereas even 5 years ago we were seeing major phone announcements at CES, I feel like now everyone is saving them for Mobile World Congress.
Yeah, absolutely. And MWC has become huge. MWC is now in the, I think it's 100 to 110,000 people, which is just amazing. It is the one place where you can get together people from every mobile operator in the world. And people from, there's regulators and ministers from most of the countries in the world are there. And obviously people from every mobile manufacturer in the world, whether or not they are showing a new phone, are there. And even there are always even a whole bunch of people from Apple there.
Right.
Although they don't have a booth, they don't show anyone. I mean, they don't show anything. They don't tell anyone they're from Apple. But if you're anyone in mobile phones, you have to be at Mobile World Congress.
There's also my personal favorite show that I've ever been to. I think it's certainly in your top tier as well.
It is my favorite time of the year, absolutely.
I mean, it could be because it's in Barcelona.
Yeah, Barcelona's pretty great.
But it is a fun show.
Yes.
So the show starts, it's at the end of the month. The news is really going to start coming in on Sunday before the show, which is the 25th.
Yes.
And the main reason for that big news is because Samsung is going to be holding their Unpacked event, as you can see on the screen behind us. So at Unpacked, we think, we're fairly certain we're going to be seeing the Galaxy S9.
I think we can safely say that what is coming on the screen as it forms is the Galaxy S9. I don't think there is any debate around that.
Well, I mean, that says the camera reimagined. What if it is just a camera called the Samsung 9?
That'd be a shocker. That would really, whoa, that would really throw everyone reeling.
But yeah, no, we're probably going to see the Galaxy S9.
Yeah. And it looks like we have a question already.
What are your thoughts on Apple's recent patent of a foldable phone?
Apple patents all sorts of things. There's a lot of Apple patents out there. They don't necessarily mean that Apple is making anything. It means that people at Apple had an idea that they thought might be a good idea later. Foldable phones are definitely a trend in the industry right now. And any major high-end manufacturer who isn't working on a foldable phone is probably behind. So the fact that Apple filed a patent on one concept of a foldable phone merely means that Apple is still thinking and still in the mix, which is good. They haven't given up.
And just put that into further perspective, there are patent stories almost every day. Some of them gain more traction than others, but just because you see something is, they've made a patent, that they have a patent for it, doesn't mean that it will turn into an actual product.
Yeah, and I'm not familiar with this particular patent, but this could also be used in the constant patent warfare over common smartphone features. For instance, if foldable phones become common, Apple will pull out their sheaf of foldable phone patents, and Samsung will pull out their sheaf of foldable phone patents, and they'll go to war with them.
Right.
So that is definitely a thing that could happen.
All right, Galaxy S9.
Galaxy S9. So Galaxy S9, it is coming on Sunday the 25th, and we know a lot about it by now, or we at least think we know a lot about it. Leaks have come out of the front, of the back, of the retail box, of various accessories. I'll pop over to a screen that shows some of them. So this is, a lot of the leaks are coming from Evan Blass, who is the king of the leakers. This is the front of the Galaxy S9. It looks a lot like the Galaxy S8, as you can see. There is still no fingerprint scanner on the front because the fingerprint scanner is on the back, but at least it's below the camera this time.
Right.
The Galaxy S9 is going to be 5.8 inches. The Galaxy S9 Plus will be 6.2. 4 colors, black, purple, gray, and blue. The S9 Plus will have dual 12-megapixel cameras, one being a 2x. The Galaxy S9, it looks like, will have a single camera. Here is a short Chinese video of someone turning the Galaxy S9 around in their hand. So as you can see, superficially, very, very much like the Galaxy S8.
Right.
Now, Samsung is promising new camera capabilities. That is the major facet of their announcement. So for one thing, they are taking the aperture up to f1.5. That means letting in more light. So that is hopefully a good thing. It'll record 1080p video at up to 480 frames per second. That is super slow-mo. Where I start to have big questions is around some of the features of the new Snapdragon 845 processor that the Galaxy S9 is going to use. Specifically, the Snapdragon 845 processor captures and displays images using a bigger color space than other phones we have seen so far, an even bigger color space than Apple uses, I believe.
Right.
So will Samsung's new phones have screens and have cameras that represent colors much more intensely and vibrantly than even the Galaxy S8 did? We really haven't heard anything about that yet. That could be the big surprise.
So would this need to be a new type of display technology?
It might. It might. I'm not quite sure what that would require. I just know the processor. When they were announcing the 845, they made a big deal over something called Ultra HD Premium, which includes this larger color space. I don't know what needs to be done in the screen to enable that.
Right.
Looks like we have another question.
So based on everything we've heard about the S9 so far, do you feel like this is going to be a worthwhile upgrade for someone who has an S8 Plus?
I don't think it's going to be a huge jump from the S8 Plus. I think it's going to be a huge jump from the S7. I think they've gone to a TikTok, and this is definitely a talk.
And if you look at it, sort of most yearly updates of phones work this way. Whereas, you know, if you buy a phone 1 year, the next year's update is not typically as big.
Samsung has swerved a lot, though. Okay, the switch from, except Samsung does work essentially in 2-year chunks. The S6 was a major change from the S5, going to that metal unibody. Then the S7 was a lot like the S6. Then the S8 was another radical change.
Right.
So they are making, I feel like, a big change every 2 years.
Right. So
yeah.
I guess, yeah, depending on what side of that change that you're on. But if you do have an S8, it sounds like you could probably wait till the S10.
Yeah, you're still, or the Galaxy X Folder, the mysterious folding phone they might have at IFA.
Right.
We don't know. Okay, so other things that we are finding out in our rumors, it's going to have some kind of Animoji-like thing. It's going to have an AR stickers capability. It might have an intelligent scan feature that combines face and iris scanning. The Snapdragon 845 processor will be probably 20 to 40% faster than the S8 on web browsing. It'll still have a headphone jack. People like that.
Yeah.
Probably still have a micro SD card slot. No removable battery, though. Sorry, folks. But yeah, so it looks like a really good phone. The question is there going to be anything that makes people go, ooh, ah? I feel like a more colorful screen could be that thing, and it hasn't been revealed yet.
Right.
So is that just me holding out hope for a surprise?
Well, I think that's kind of the point that we've gotten to, where, you know, every time that there's a big phone announcement, we want that moment of ooh and ah. And I mean, it's great when it happens, but there's only so much you can do from, you know, phone to phone.
I feel like putting the S8 in my hand was an ooh and ah moment. Like when I held this thing for the first time, this was an ooh and ah form factor.
Right. But that was because it was a major shift in form factor.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So if you do want more information on the Galaxy S9 rumors, we have collected them all in this large, extensive story that's up on PCMag right now.
Yes. But Samsung is not the only show at Mobile World Congress, and it's not going to be the only phone at Mobile World Congress.
No, another big manufacturer, LG, will be announcing a new phone there as well.
Yes. Now, the LG phone, we are pretty sure, will be an incremental update to the LG V30. And LG announced today that they are going to have new AI functions, which are new voice commands, camera scene detection, and an ability to make low-light photos twice as bright. Does anyone actually know what AI means?
Well, we're hearing it used in so many different contexts that it's sort of becoming confusing.
Yeah.
I feel like 15 years ago I would have said the Steven Spielberg movie.
I know.
But now it's voice assistance, it's camera quality, it's processing.
It's arbitrary voice commands.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the LG, the 2018 version of the LG V30, it'll be a V30 amped up with this special AI capability.
No, wait. So we've seen a V30 and we've seen a V30 Plus. So is this going to be a V30 Plus Plus?
Maybe it'll be a V31.
Okay.
V35. Could be a V35 and then they go to a V40.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like that mysterious Qualcomm Snapdragon 850 processor that people are talking
That's
about?
true, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what's coming from LG. Next on our list, I believe we have, I want to talk a little about Asus, because they have such a colorful event invite.
So that's how you know how to get PCMag to attend. Just give Sasha a colorful invite.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. It's so dynamic. I really like their event invite. Asus is going to give us a Zenfone 5, a Zenfone 5 Lite, a Zenfone 5 Max. The most interesting thing about these that we've heard in the rumors is that the Zenfone 5 Lite has two 20-megapixel cameras on the front and two 16-megapixel cameras on the back.
That is a lot of megapixels.
And a lot of cameras.
Yeah.
And that's the Lite. Like the Zenfone 5 Max is going to have like 8 cameras or something.
So what could they be using all those cameras for?
Well, the rear cameras, I mean, it's typically used for bokeh and kind of depth sensing. I guess the front cameras, I would say to do kind of portrait mode. What's funny is that I guess they've decided, because you can do portrait mode with the CPU if you have a high-end CPU. The Pixel does that. So I guess they decided that it's cheaper to buy 2 cameras and use a lower-end processor than to get a higher-end processor and do it through software.
I mean, hey, if it works.
Yeah, I mean, if it works. So that'll be an interesting phone from Asus.
Right. We're also going to see new phones from Motorola.
We might. So I've been starting to hear that the Motorola picture is getting a little murkier.
Okay.
It might just be mods.
Just mods.
Might be the G6, which I would be interested in seeing. Might be the G6. Might be the E5, which is their new low-end phone. Might just be mods.
If it is just mods, I am both confused and impressed by their sort of steadfast focus.
On mods?
Yeah, on mods.
Yeah, because they had mods at CES.
Right.
And, okay, so here is something I have been hearing. The Moto word has gotten very, very fuzzy in the past couple of days. And it might, I mean, one of the things about putting these videos on YouTube is that you might be watching this a week from now, and the whole situation may have crystallized in a different shape.
Right, keep in mind this is February 13th.
Exactly. But like, I'm hearing, for instance, that they may be wanting to show off a 5G mod in cooperation with some of the 5G carrier announcements of the show.
Well, that would be a cool, interesting one to show.
I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool.
And just to be clear, mods are attachments that slot on the back of certain Motorola phones, and they provide the phone with an additional functionality that it doesn't have otherwise.
Right. Now, one I didn't put on our list because I just got the info and I was initially like, oh, I'm going to ignore this, and then I was like, we cannot ignore this. There is something called the Doogie V Mix. Okay. And
how do you say that? How do you spell that?
Here. I'll call it up on the. I'll call it up on the big screen. Hang on. It's either the V Mix or the Mix V. Hang on a sec. Doogie. Ah, darn it. Okay, it's not showing up in Bing, but so this is another one of those phones with the under-display fingerprint sensor. Okay, and that they just announced a press event. So I remember at CES, everybody was writing about that Vivo phone with the under-display fingerprint sensor, and I was just kind of like, oh, I'm ignoring this because it's China. But people were so grabbed by it. They were so grabbed by the idea of that phone.
Right.
And so there's going to be another one. It's going to also be China, but we're going to take a closer look at it this time.
And the reason said that Sasha ignored it because it's China is because we typically only report on phones that will be released in the US.
Right, right. But what I underestimated was the attention-grabbing power of that under-display fingerprint sensor.
Right.
And so we are definitely going to see more phones with the under-display fingerprint sensor at Mobile World Congress, and we will be taking a close look at them.
All right, so let's transition from Doogie to Sony.
Yeah, so Sony has rumored to have the Xperia XZ2 Pro. This is a rumored high-end Snapdragon 845 phone with dual rear cameras, 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gig storage option, and a 4K screen, 3840 by 2160. And kind of the point that they're making here is that this will outpace the Galaxy S9 on every spec.
And so one thing that I wonder, would it outpace it on release date? Would this come out before the Galaxy S9?
No! This is what Sony did last year.
Right.
They announced like a super high-end phone at Mobile World Congress, and then they were like, oh, it's not coming out until May. This is because I think what happens is that Samsung buys up like all the first run of Snapdragon 845 chips, and everyone is stuck behind them.
Right.
On the production line. Yeah, yeah. But so Sony, I suspect what is going to happen is that Samsung is going to announce this Galaxy S9, and then Sony is going to try to swoop in. Sony's event is the next morning after Samsung's.
Okay.
So Sony is going to try to swoop in and say, well, we have a phone that's better in every possible way. And yet Samsung will sell like 900 million of their phone, and Sony will sell like 26.
And there are many reasons for that.
Yes, yes.
But we won't get into them here.
But I am excited for the specs I have heard rumored about the Sony Xperia XZ2 Pro.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fun thing about shows like this. It's cool when you see a phone that's like totally tricked out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a 4K display. Like, we've seen this before. We saw it on the, like, all the way back to Z5 Premium. It's just more display than anyone needs at this size, but like, it's kind of fun to just experience the excess.
Right. All right, and then we'll probably see a bunch of non-US phones.
Yeah, yeah, and so our PCMag UK editor, Tom Newton, is going to be there, and he is focusing on products that are going to be big in Europe, but not necessarily big in the US.
Right.
ZTE is said to be announcing a like strong mid-range contender, the Blade V9.
Right.
It's going to be like 5 new phones from fake Nokia.
And Nokia was huge last year.
Yeah, yeah, fake Nokia was huge last year. And they are going to have like a whole lineup this year, so Tom will be on that. There's going to be a pretty solid mid-range lineup from Alcatel that we'll all be looking at. Maybe not, right now, maybe not a lot to say about them that's spectacular, but Alcatel does kind of consistently deliver value.
Right.
So that's good to see.
Are there any questions?
Actually, I saw that we're potentially expecting 5G announcements. So what's the timetable now for 5G? Like, where are we at right now?
So, the carriers have pushed their 5G announcements now to the end of 2018. I believe it's AT&T has said that they are going to have mobile 5G by the end of 2018 using some sort of hotspot or puck. Verizon says they will have a fixed wireless 5G product in 2018. I think that Sprint is also now shooting for the end of 2018 for a 5G launch. T-Mobile is poo-pooing all of them and is still going for 2019.
And we actually just updated our story on what is 5G, which is on the site now, and it has the latest rundown of all the carriers and what 5G actually is, what to expect.
Yeah, what we're going to be seeing still is a lot of infrastructure demos at this show because the actual consumer end devices are really not available yet.
Right.
But we're going to be seeing a lot of functioning infrastructure. We're going to be seeing 5G. The standard is set. So the stuff is really happening. They just haven't built the phones yet, essentially.
Right. Any other questions? All right, so I think it's going to be an exciting show. I mean, we're just about 2 weeks out now.
Yep, yep.
You'll be there along with a number of people from PCMag.
Yeah, we're going to have a big team. Ziff Davis is a media sponsor of Mobile World Congress this year. We are bringing a pretty big team to the show. We are going to be doing video interviews and demos here on the PCMag Facebook page throughout the show. So during that last week of February, if you are into phones at all, there is going to be a lot coming at you.
Oh, and you know what? Before we go, it looks like we have another question.
One last one. What's the best new mid-range phone?
The best new mid-range, and we're not talking about, like, are we talking about going to be announced at Mobile World Congress, or are we going to talk about, are we talking about, like, out now?
I think out now.
Out now.
We have seen, actually, we've seen a number of good mid-range phones over the last year.
Yeah. I mean, we really like the Moto X4.
Mm-hmm. Moto is what comes
Moto
to mind,
X4 is fresh. But I would also say that on kind of the lower end, I have a certain affection for, and hear me out on this, the ZTE Blade Max line, the Blade Z Max and the Blade X Max, because they have these relatively low-res 6-inch screens, and especially for older users who want just kind of a bigger picture without having to like squint at really small type. They're just such tremendous value for money.
Sure.
So, and just for people who want a big phone at a low price, I think they are really, really filling a niche.
Right. So yeah, I mean, but we probably will see more interesting mid-range phones at the show too.
Absolutely.
So thanks for tuning in to Dialed In. We'll be back again next week, and we'll be at Mobile World Congress in 2 weeks from now.